What is up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 8 of Vended Thoughts. We got an exciting guest yet again here on this podcast. We have Kashef Edwards from at the Vending Biz all over. Those are his tags if you want to follow him on social media. He has grown over almost at 200,000 subscribers on Instagram. He's got, I think, about 8,000 followers on YouTube, and he's grown a mass following in the vending niche because he helps people start in the vending business the easiest way, and he provides very helpful content on Instagram and all of his social pages. So I'm very excited to have you, and please just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and yeah.
Hey, how you doing? First of all, thank you for having me on. I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised in Philadelphia. Um, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here, excited to be on, I'm ready to get into it.
All right, sounds good. We will hop right into it. I want to talk a little bit how we met, how you started the vending business, and then essentially what you're doing in the industry because I think it's pretty cool what you're doing. In a similar sense, I'm trying to do what you're doing. I don't have the same amount of following, but yeah, we're still doing the same thing. But we met basically through Instagram, which was cool. We connected because of the vending niche, and basically, when did you start your vending business? And yeah, how long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing it for about 6 years now. This approaching 6 years. I started back in, I want to say it was about 2015, early 2015.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so that's around the time that I started.
Yeah, cool. So you've been doing it for about 6 years. I'm doing, I think, about seven. I started with gumball machines, but then you got onto the Instagram side of things. What made you want to get out there and kind of, help people? Because I see your course. It seems like it honestly has a lot of information that can help someone get their first machine. I see you post all the testimonials of the people, placing their machines. What made you want to do that side of it?
And you know what's crazy? I actually started. I heard you say you started with gumball machines. I actually started with gumball machines too. That was how I.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, I started with gumball machines and kind of grew that. I grew that route out to about like 20 gumball machines, and then I got into the vending machines. But
That's very cool.
in terms of what made me actually get started in the sense of helping people, it was this a question that I got a lot. This in my neighborhood or locally, like people will always ask me, even when I want to actually fill machines and that type of thing, people will always ask me about it. So um, when I looked online more so for answers, even when I myself was looking to get started, I really couldn't find a lot of information on it. Like so, I just saw an opening there, to put the info out there for people who were looking to get started.
Yeah.
Initially, I set that page up before and I started it, but I kind of didn't go through with it. And then it kind of fell off. I didn't really do it. And then what had happened was because for me personally, in my mind, it was simple because I was actually doing it. So it was like, okay, well, you find the location, you get a machine, you fill it with products, and you set the price. Like to me, it was like what I'm saying, that was it. But to somebody on the outside looking in, it's not that simple. Like so, what actually opened my eyes up more was I had a friend move down from Rochester, New York. So he hit me up and he wanted to get into the vending business, right? But he wanted to do it out there. And at the time, I needed help with my business. So I was like, man, if you come out here and help me out, we could do it together. So he ended up coming out. He moved from Rochester to Philly. So he came out, and then this
Wow.
based off of me teaching him stuff and hearing the questions and stuff that he was asking me, it allowed me to look at stuff differently, look at the business differently, and really see things that I didn't see before. Like, so like it's like, okay, well, you
Yeah.
find the location, but then it's like, well, he's asking, well, how do you know if a location is good? In my mind, I know what I'm looking for, but I never really thought like, you know what I'm saying? So that part
Like,
kind
broke
of,
it down. Yeah, you never broke it down. It gave you,
yeah,
like, a
like he
top-side
really helped
perspective.
me teaching him really helped me break it down. And then once I got like that part, that's when I went back. My wife actually putting it back online. I went back to online, and then I started putting content out, and then the rest, kind of just happened organically.
The rest happen as part of the process, which is honestly super awesome. And it's really cool because you never really know where you're going to be a couple months, a year from now. You could have a plan, but it could change, in terms of helping people, because you didn't know that people didn't know the simple details of vending. And the same with me. People don't know the difference between a bulk vending machine and a full line vending machine, but those are classic terms that we use in the vending industry, but a lot of people don't even know. So
Right, right.
breaking it down and making it simple for the everyday person, which is definitely pretty cool. Um, yeah, very cool. You're doing a lot of cool stuff. We're gonna hop right into the questions. This first question is just a funny question I added in here because I want to make it a vending podcast. It's not all centered around vending content. I've had some other e-commerce people and stock investing people on here, but Pepsi or Coke? What's your preference? Or maybe no soda. A lot of people also don't like soda.
It's for me in terms of drinking it.
In terms of you, but also since you're a vending business owner, what do you stock more? I'm curious as well.
So in terms of me, I like Coca-Cola over Pepsi. I don't drink too much soda, but when I do drink soda, I like Coca-Cola over Pepsi. In terms of sales, Pepsi over Coca-Cola. I sell a lot of Pepsi. I sell way more Pepsi than I do Coca-Cola.
Me too on that, which is very interesting to hear that perspective. I don't know why it is, but maybe I think Pepsi might have more caffeine, or Pepsi does have caffeine and Coke doesn't. I'm not too sure.
I'm not
So
sure,
people
but I
might like
know
that little
that
boost.
Pepsi definitely that stuff sells. If is
Yeah, definitely. Cool to know. But yeah, let's hop in to the meat of everything. What is one thing that you hate about the vending business? I'm curious to see. I
one,
have things I hate, and I'm sure you have something you hate, but
I would say one thing that I hate. I hate the lack of resources there is in terms of not even the lack of resources, the lack of I don't even know how to put it in terms of um the way we could find the resources. So for me, and this really would led me to the vending biz again, and to some of the other things that I'm doing, like with the vending stuff. It's like, when so for example, when I first got started, I was trying to figure out where to buy a machine. I found the place um that was an hour, or it's like 2 hours away from me. I had to go to find this vending machine, right? Um, and then after time, I started talking to people. I started meeting more people in the business, and I ended up finding a place that was only 45 minutes away. Then I found a place that was like 30 minutes away, but it's not posted anywhere. Like it's I don't you just have to be in it. No, you have to be in that mix in order to know where to get the machines from, where the wholesale spots are, where to get the products from. Like, so that's the part that I don't like. It's like, even with the repair people and all that type of stuff, you just have to know these people. It's not like listed anywhere. Like, so that
absolutely
would be my biggest.
no. And I mean, it was an interesting question I put in here for this podcast. And honestly, I think you have a pretty interesting answer when it comes to it, because it's very true. You kind of do have to be in the know. The vending niche, in my eyes, is very cutthroat. In my opinion, there's a lot of big dogs out there. 100, 200, 300 machines that they kind of want to keep everything kind of secretive, and they do a good job at it, honestly, of keeping things pretty low key. So the resourcefulness in the vending industry is definitely subpar compared to, think about like an e-commerce business. E-com is huge, and it's a lot easier to find resources for
Yeah,
that stuff. It's
share.
it's interesting.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that is I was lucky because I found the guy who was, because he considered a big dog. He brought out like two vending companies over here in Philly, in the Philadelphia area. So
That's all.
he has around a few hundred machines. And when I met him, I probably only had like three or four. But he's the one that really told me a lot, and he put me on a lot of different gems around, as far as resources and there's guidance. Like, so he's a person I really learned a lot from in terms of, helping me grow. Like, so,
Yeah,
and that's rare because most of the time people don't tell you nothing. Like, so, that's, I just lucked
definitely.
up.
It is true, and even in this industry, even with like the bulk vending, and I was big in that when I was younger. I had I sit on the board actually. I think I'm getting kicked off after 2020, but I sit on the board of directors for the National Bulk Vendors Association, which is the national association for like gumball machines, candy machines, stuff like that. And that is even like a super tight niche community. Even though that I was on the board, there was so many players in that they shared resources among themselves, but not everyone else. So it is cool on two sides. You didn't like the resourcefulness, and then you're also now a mentor and a resource to a lot of people who want to start a vending business. If they look up how to start a vending business, you're one of the first people to pop up. And I just think that's very cool that you're kind of changing the stigma a little bit. I mean, we're all trying in the vending industry to kind of change the stigma. As I say, it's the vending revolution happening. But I think more and more people want to start a vending business, as in the past, it wasn't as easy to do it. And I think people kind of looked at it like, oh, I didn't know you could buy a vending machine. These simple things that we find easy is not easy to an average person.
Right, right, exactly.
So, but you know, it's a evolving industry, and I'm excited to see what comes. I mean, I know you have an exciting stuff coming. I saw you're working on an app, which I think is very cool, and continue to hack at it. And I hope it all works out for you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. What would be one piece of advice that you would give to people starting a vending business right now?
Um, I would say I think from my experience, some people jump in without really doing their research. They get it, they see that like some numbers or whatever, they get excited and they might just rush and buy a machine, or just kind of jump in without really doing their research. So just make sure you do your research first. Um, and focus on the location. Don't really focus on the machine. Like the machines are easy to get. They're not as hard as you may think they are to get. Because even if you have the best machine, if you don't have a good location, it means nothing. Like so, just put your focus and attention on being having a system to find those, good locations.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I absolutely agree. And I had spoke to Reyes on the last podcast, and he kind of said the same thing because you could have this super expensive $8,000 vending machine, and you put it in a location with 5 employees. That vending machine will never make back its money, or the potential of it not making back its money is very very low. So, location first. So, I mean, I guess another question I'll add in: are you a location first person, or do you like to have your machines in stock?
Right now, I have them. I probably have about 20 or so machines that's like in my unit, like in my little warehouse unit. But
Yeah,
I'm a location first person. Like, yeah, I have those machines right now because I sell some, I use some, like I'm doing different things. But in terms of this, the actually like putting them places and and using them, I believe you have to have well, it's not you have, it's best to have the location first. And I learned that from my first go around, when I actually went out there 2 hours and brought that machine. It was a combo machine. I ended up buying it I got a hotel. So, I'm looking at the spot when I actually get to the hotel. I'm like, I don't think this machine is going to fit. So I called a place and they're like, no, no, it's going to fit. We've been doing this for 20 years and blah, 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 blah. And they drove all the way over here with the machine and it did not fit. Like, so
yeah,
from that
definitely
point
hard.
on, that taught me, you know, get the location first. Don't go get the machine first, and then get the machine out, because now you could take measurements so you can know what size machine. A lot of times, the location is really going to determine what type of machine you need anyway. Like every machine ain't for every location. Like depending on the amount of
Yeah,
people in there and the space and the doorways and all that type of stuff. So I like the location
of
first.
course. Yeah, there's a lot of things to think about when you're trying to get a location, and it just helps in the beginning if you form all of your agreements, your contracts, or whatever your product list. If you get that all correct in the beginning and kind of go at getting locations, it all kind of works out to get the machine. Most lead times for a used machine is a couple days with people, or even if you buy new, maybe it's under 2 weeks. So it definitely works. And I was curious to get your perspective because I'm a heavy, although I do have some machines in the warehouse as well, I am a location driven first.
Yeah. And I also think if you get the machine first, it kind of locks you into like It's like, all right,
Commitment.
now now your focus is on finding the right location or finding the right, location for that machine instead of just
Finding the
finding
best location.
finding a good location, like finding the best location. Yeah, like so,
Yeah.
that's another reason too.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. There's two ways to do it. I'm not saying one way is better than the other because sometimes getting the machine for people, it helps them get motivated to find a location. And okay, now you have the machine, you take the picture and kind of try to fit it into places. But I think the other way is better, is trying to, have your eye set upon any location and then fit a location for that specific location, because that's kind of how you do get ahead, I think, in this industry, is you kind of be location specific, product specific to certain locations. It's
Right.
not like these billion-dollar vending companies. They don't do that. It's like one set planogram and that's it for all their customers.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but moving along, we're gonna go to the social media side for a second. You have, I thought it was over 100,000. It was, I think, 180,000 followers on Instagram. A lot of followers. Do you have any advice on that side to grow a following? I know hashtags is one. Do you have any others? I'd be even curious.
Yeah, I mean, so the hashtags is, I think, they're important. Like when you're first getting started with that, and I actually did study. I studied like how to grow the Instagram thing before I even like launched it. So I was like
That's
trying to
awesome.
figure out how to grow it. I grew like two other pages um as well too. Like just because I just figured it out. But mainly I guess like the hashtag thing is important. Posting times are important. Like so I try to post around 9 o'clock in the morning, when people are kind of, just getting going. I'll post around 12 during like a lunch period, like when people are kind of settling down. And then I try to post in the evening around when people are like settling down for the night. So I'll try to post on the most like the times where people are most active. So um, you can get more interaction. Obviously, the more interaction you get with your post, the further the reach goes and the more people see it, and so on and so forth.
Fair.
Um,
Yeah. Do you think scheduling is a big thing?
I think it's important, yeah, because obviously it's just your social media is based off of, as far as how your reach goes, is based off of interaction. And for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm pretty sure you know this already, when you post, the actual content doesn't go to all of your followers. It only goes to like a small percentage. So the more interaction you get with that post, the more it will push it to your following. Like so,
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that actually, but that's cool.
yeah. So if it sends it out to like 200 people and those 200 people don't really react to it, it's not gonna send it out to no more people. But if those 200 people react to it, it's gonna push it out to another 200. And then if those 200, they're gonna pick it out, it's gonna push it out to 500, and it's gonna keep doing that until it slows down, or if it doesn't slow down, that's when it ends up pushing out to your whole audience, and then it goes outside of that, and that's when something just goes viral. It pushes it out everywhere. So
Wow. Very cool to know. Good advice. I appreciate that because I honestly didn't know that, but makes sense is why you really need some good content, posting at good times, good hashtags, and just try to get as many eyes on that piece of content as you can.
yeah,
So numbers game for sure. But we've all made mistakes. I'm sure the process of being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of mistakes, a lot of uphills, downhills. Do you learn from your mistakes? Would you say?
I would definitely say that. I try to learn from my mistakes, and I definitely try to learn from other people's mistakes. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's if you're not learning from your mistakes, then that's bad. But not everybody does. Not everybody does learn from their mistakes. I definitely try to
It's
learn
true.
from mine. And more than that, I try to learn from other people's. Like I pay attention to stuff. Um, see what's working, see what's not working, or see where this person messed up at. Well, that type of thing, and just try to
That's
make
pretty
my own.
cool. I never, yeah, I never thought. I mean, I guess that's kind of what reading is or having a mentor, but like, I never thought about it as that perspective of look at other people's mistakes and kind of see how you can avoid those mistakes. I guess in a sense, that's a cool perspective. I like that.
Thank you, though.
What is one of the happiest moments of your life?
One of the happiest moments outside of like family, I would say, well, I would definitely say it's my family first. Like, having my daughter, that was like my biggest motivation. Then I had my son. Um, I mean, those were pretty much the happiest moments of my life. Outside of that, it was when I was able to, like, entrepreneurship wise, it was when I was able to like leave my job and be a full time entrepreneur. Um,
Yeah,
getting married, that type of thing. Like all those. I don't know which one is the
all
happiest.
those milestones.
They're all up there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I think Reyes as well. Also, I think he has uh, a kid or two, one or two kids. I'm not sure, but he said the same thing. I guess I don't have kids myself, but it seems like it's a kind of a life changing thing when you do.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Because it's like it's just not about you anymore. Like now you got other people, and then you still have other people depending on you. But outside of that, but when it's a kid, it's like a kid is defenseless. Like it's really dependent on you. So
Yeah.
it
Wow.
makes you go a little harder.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. Um, moving along though. You are a hustler. You're a talented entrepreneur. I see you hustling all the time with your machines, placing more machines daily. What do you see derailing your plans in terms of like the vending business?
Derailing. I would just say this. mm, I would say this systems. Like if you don't have, and me included, like I'm working on my systems right now. Like so, if you don't have the right systems in place, it's hard to grow, and you also want to stay ahead of the curve with technology. Like so, when I say systems, I mean like all right. So for example, one of my systems I'm working on is I'm trying to have all of the same type of machines, right? So
Very
right now
cool.
I got a few different types, like because I when I started, I wasn't really focused on that. I just was trying to get what I could afford and get stuff in the places that I believe were going to be good. But now I'm trying to have the same type of machines because I'm going to start actually bringing more people on board, and I want it to be a smooth transition. So if I train somebody uh in this system, like if I train them on how to work this machine, it's and that's the same type of machine that's at most of my accounts. It's an easier process. Like
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
retraining, and even outside of that, with software, I'm working on getting software on every single machine. Because yeah, once again, when I started, card readers were around, but they weren't like a must have. Now it's like almost a must have because people are using cash less and less. Like so,
Yeah.
I feel like you need that card reader on there, especially if you're bringing people on board because you want to be able to track your sales, track your cash, and and everything else, and that technology does that for you. So I would just say having the right systems in place. If I don't have that, I feel like that would derail me, and along with
Yeah.
everybody else is trying to do it.
Systems and technology are definitely two things that can displace or derail any business. I believe because technology of vending machines can move quicker than we can possibly see, and then we're outpaced by another competitor, or you don't have the systems to keep up, and then essentially you're taken out that way. Which I'm with you on the systems. It's
Right?
definitely about building the processes within a company more so than just the outcome.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
I think you need to like streamline it. The more you can streamline it, the easier it is to manage. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's complete key for sure. So very cool to know. Um, is there anything else you would like to do or love to do? Any other hobbies besides vending or YouTube or Instagram? Is there anything else you like, I guess, off of social media?
off of social media, I mean, as far as hobbies, I play sports. I mean, I play basketball. That's my biggest thing. I play
Are you
basketball in high
tall?
school, college. Yeah, I'm 6'5".
Oh, all right. So
So
I'm wrecked. I'm 6 foot, so that's it. I'm done. If we got on that
no,
court, I know I was gonna start talking some smack, but you'd probably wreck me. You got inches on me, so
Yeah, but I played in high school, college, and after that I pretty much stopped. I was done with it after that. But yeah, that's what I do outside of that. But
Yeah,
my biggest,
cool.
you know, being able to be free, like that's my. I hate being stuck somewhere, so that's
Yeah,
my.
I feel you on that. You always got to be kind of moving around. I'm like that sometimes for sure too. But figured I'd ask. Curious, I didn't know, but I guess recreational sports is what you like to do besides the vending stuff. It's very cool. Um, what do you believe makes a successful vending company, a very successful vending company?
I believe it's like something to what you said in the beginning of this interview. Is being able to build a rapport with your accounts. When I say accounts, I'm talking about the actual locations. Um, yeah, just being able to build a rapport with them. Like you said, like some bigger companies are real like cookie cutter, and they have the same products. They don't really provide like a unique selection for each account. They just kind of get whatever they get, what they get, and just put it in every machine. I think
Yeah,
that step is important in terms of making every account unique, like in terms of products. Now, obviously, some products go across the board, like Pepsi, water, peanut M&Ms. Like, oh, certain stuff that goes across the board, but it's a few of
of
those
course.
selections in there that you want to throw in there just for that account. And there's people knowing your name, talking to people. I'll go in and sometimes I might give out a free bag of chips here and there or something like that. Just building that rapport with your account, I believe is important because most of the time when they have issues with those bigger companies, it's because they don't really have that rapport. Like they don't know them, they don't see them, they don't so it's easy for them to replace them. Like so, but if they actually know you and they know you as a person, um, I feel like you have a better chance of having a longer business relationship because you actually have a relationship. Like so.
Yeah, face like a human interaction. It's not just emails and paperwork. It's an actual. You're a person. You're helping us, and we understand. So
Right.
that's actually that's cool. Report is definitely a big thing, and I'll be completely honest on this podcast. I probably don't focus on it enough, but one thing I'm working on, and I don't. You might do this, but what is it? What are they called? When you get a letter of recommendation from a location, that's one thing I'm working on
Uh-huh.
currently, trying to figure out the best locations that want to give me a good letter of recommendation. I don't know if you do that, but I feel like that builds such a rapport in a sales like meeting.
Yeah, and sometimes they ask for that. I've not, I haven't personally been asked for it. But I
Like
have helped
government
some people.
government contracts, I've heard they ask for
Right.
other places.
Get on contracts and that type of stuff. And now in like bigger places, like we had, like if you get any of those big box places, and big box places are like Walmart, Home Depot, like all those places that sell like a whole bunch of stuff. They tend to ask for references. So yeah, it's
Good
good
to
to
know.
have.
Yeah, I'm just learning that that's a good thing to do. So, but we're all learning. It's all part of the
Right.
process. That's all we can do.
Me too. And I just learned that like not too long ago, honestly, like with the big box places. Like so
Yeah,
it's
I mean
actually
it's expected. They're huge in-house names, so they're going to expect whoever's coming in for their services to have some type of backing or report.
right. And they ask for actual references from other big box play, like so if you're going into Home Depot, they ask for like references from home Walmart or something like that, like a little.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
but I feel like once you're in there, though, it's like it's easier to move around and maneuver, and that's just with the business in general. Once you get in one spot and you do a good job, they refer you to other places, like, and the process just get easier to find location.
I I think so too. Yeah, I think it's those first couple of years though that a lot of people I see entering now kind of rush and they're like, "Oh, upset. I only made, $15 this week." Blah blah blah. I mean, I've been there too. I think I still have one or two machines that are making trash that I'm just leaving on location because just because you leave them there and they're paying storage essentially, which is bad to say publicly, but it's kind of true. Some locations are like that, but I think a lot of people rush that process because without the crappy locations in the beginning, you don't know what an excellent location is in the process.
Right, right. And for me, I
So,
was kind of lucky again in the sense of my first like three locations were like home runs. But when I finally got to a slow one, I was like, damn, like what's going on? Like, what's happening? But for my person that I brung to the city with me to help out, one thing that I really liked about him was like, his the first account that we got together, it was slow. Like it didn't present as slow because even when I looked at all like the details and what makes the location good, like most of them were there. Like so it should have been a lot better than it was. But it wasn't like he like gave up hope and quit and he kept pushing. Like he kept pushing, got another account. It was a little better. It wasn't a great one, but it was a little better. Then after that he ended up landing Temple, which was
wow.
dorm, Temple dorm. That one ended up doing phenomenal. Like it was doing like over 3,000 a month off two machines. And whereas though the other ones were barely making anything, now you go from that to like, and it's because he stayed consistent and he didn't give up. Like, so and that's rare to get an account like that. Like that's not easy to do. Um,
No, yeah,
so yeah, like just
that's
keeping it
awesome. I mean, it's
for
go ahead. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was just saying keeping that consistency is important because a lot of people just give up once they hit a count or two that's not like what they wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, I posted something today, and honestly, I posted it because I think it just impacts me and it impacts a lot of people. I read it probably 20 times today. It was some like ordinary people focus on the outcome, extraordinary people focus on the process, and I think it changes everything because for a lot of my entrepreneurial journey, I've always focused on that outcome, that materialistic thing, that whatever that feeling of getting something. But again, if you're not focusing on the actual processes of your business, I mean, you're not going to get the outcome number one, and you're not going to stay committed because at first you're not going to get the outcome. You're going to have slow locations. They're not going to be what we hype it up to be or what our locations are doing, but you're going to get a location and you have to be grateful for the fact that it's making something, and then you just got to pivot from there, move it out. If anything, these machines can move.
Yeah.
That's just one of the things.
And I think I'm guilty of that too. I don't really do it anymore, but that's definitely something that I've done. Kind of really just staring at the numbers, like like all right, what am I making now? What am I making with
Yeah, we all do it. We all do it.
like, man, I can't do that because it puts me on a emotional roller coaster. Like I'm up, then I'm down, then I'm up, then I'm down. So I can't. I just got to focus on the process and then just believe in my process and then focus on that and then just know the outcome is going to be what I need it to be. If I just
Exactly.
all the time, it's make my head hurt. Like I can't up and down too much.
No, it's true. You got to just focus on what you have to do, make sure you're doing it. Everything else is irrelevant, truthfully, until you finish that one thing. If someone wants to start a vending business, focus on finding your location. Besides anything else, do not focus on anything else. Get that location to say yes, and then worry about getting your machine, your licensing, and everything like that. It can be done backwards. I think people get lost in the sauce and end up never starting, which is unfortunate. But I mean, it keeps us in business, I guess. But
Right. I definitely started mine backwards. I know that, so I know it can be done better.
yeah, I mean, keep chugging along. But let's move on. Next question: what made you choose vending? I don't know if you've mentioned that, but what made you choose vending as your business?
So the main thing that made me choose vending was when I was all right, so when I was younger, like I just said, I played sports, right? So I spent a lot of time in recreation centers, and it was one recreation center in particular. All of them had vending machines, but this one in particular, it was a lady who would come service the machine during our practice. We had practice on the weekend, so every weekend she would come and service that machine. It was a Gatorade machine. I would see her take the money out and then refill it with Gatorades, and I would use it all the time. And I would always just catch her, and I catch a glimpse of her taking the money out. Like, man, she taking a lot of money out of that machine. And then I would just be paying attention to how many people were actually using it while I was there. Like so,
Wow.
that's what sparked my interest on it. Because at that point, I was like, man, I want to get me one of those machines like when I get older. And that's probably when I was like 16, 17. And then as you know, time went on, I went to college, graduated, got a job. Job ain't really making what I wanted to make. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I want to invest in something to make more money. I wanted to do real estate, but I didn't have my credit right. I didn't have enough money for real estate. But what I did have enough money for was the vending machines, right? So what I did was I purchased a vending machine, like from the spot I told you about over. It was like 2 hours away. Actually, it's in Maryland. Um, I went over there, purchased a vending machine. Didn't work out because it didn't fit. And ended up getting candy machines. I brought 4 candy machines, and grew that to like 20 or so. And then got talked into trying a vending machine again. And at that point, that's when I started the vending machine business.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's a cool thing to just realize in life. You never really know where you're going to end up because you started the job, you thought maybe that was going to be it, but then, you knew there was something more out there and now, look years later now you have a pretty successful vending business, you have a pretty successful online presence. I know you do other things as well. I think you're in real estate now. So, it's just cool how life works out sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it definitely doesn't go the way you think. I mean, I don't know. Some people might. For me personally, it was like I'll be thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this real quick, and I'm gonna jump over here and do that. It never works out that way for me. It's always kind of a process, like So I just learned to enjoy the process, not get too stressed out. Like we just talked about, just focus on the process. So
Yeah, and it definitely way better to just focus on the process. If you want to own a successful business one day, focus on building businesses. You're going to fail at something, you're not going to know something, and you just got to focus on building, working on your weaknesses, focusing on your strengths and just getting better every day. But it's interesting to learn the backstory. Um this is an interesting question, kind of deep. A lot of people say it's a deep question. To become the person that you want to become, do you have to give up the person that you are right now?
um, I think that really just depends on the person that you are. Like, so if you feel you have things you need to change, then yeah. But I think we all need change in some way or another. In order to grow. Like if you're gonna grow, then obviously you can't be the same person that you are. To me, anyway. So I definitely think
Yeah,
you need to change in order to grow to become a better person.
definitely makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's not a one or done type of thing. It's not a specific based. Obviously, it depends on the person and what situation they're in. But I always like to ask and get a little perspective on that.
Yeah, I think yeah, but I definitely think yeah. I think you kind of think you have. It's a good question. I think you have to. I think
Yeah,
you grow.
you have to change a little bit for sure. I mean, it's sometimes it's interesting to hear people say that. You have to upgrade yourself. Each level of your life requires a different you. There's a lot of different things that people say out there. So,
Yeah.
but what motivates you to work on your vending business besides? I always make this hard. Besides the money, which I don't know what else really can motivate you to
It,
work on your vending business. But
it's not even the money part for me. It's just the freedom part. Like so, that's my motivation. Because even if I didn't make a lot of money doing it, if I still made enough to be free, like I would still keep doing it. Like so, I mean, when I say free, I just mean uh like not to have
financially free.
it financially free. Like if I just made enough to get by and to pay all my bills and to put food on my table and to take care of my family, I'll still do it. Like it's just that's the part. Like it's just having that freedom, and it's not really about the money because everybody I would say needs a different amount to get by. Like depending on where you live, depending on your lifestyle. Because
Yeah,
some people might ask me, "Oh, well, does it like a lot of money?" But it depends. What do you call a lot of money, and what I call a lot of money may be, different. Like so, I
yeah.
say it's the freedom piece for me. Is my motivation to keep going with everything. I just like moving on my own time and you know having control of my future, so to speak.
Yeah, I really like that answer because truthfully, like, well, you said that so well, and it honestly even opened my eyes because money doesn't matter at the end of the day because you can make $1 million and still be at a loss for a company.
Right.
So what you're saying is don't focus on the money. You're going to make the money regardless if you're working on your business. But what it actually motivates you beyond that is the freedom to wake up and kind of, choose your destiny every day, build your destiny every day. You're motivated more by what the future can hold, not by what money you can make, which like is a way better way to wake up in the morning and work on your business. I think a lot of people focus on that money and you're not going to get it as quick as you think. Money doesn't work on your clock. I heard that quote recently, which was interesting. You're not going to get the money on your clock. It's going to kind of come as everything moves along. I really like that. Very cool. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And where do you see the vending business in the next 10 years?
Where do I see myself in 10 years? Oh, man, that's a hard question.
You could combine the two as well. I mean, where do you see the vending business in the next 10 years? I mean, where do you see yourself in that, I guess? However you want to answer that.
Um, I don't know. Hopefully, somewhere on the beach, getting real comfortable. But no. So I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I would just say, I got some things that I'm working on now. Hopefully, all those things are established. I see all those things being established by 10 years, and I see, instead of focusing on growing, my business and the other things that I have going on, just maintaining and figuring out like my exit strategy because I'm not trying to do this stuff forever. That's where I see myself in terms of
Yeah.
the vending business. Where I see that at in 10 years, um, is it's more so technology based. I would say they're using more and more technology for the machines. I see some machines that vend stuff now, and it's like a digital. So the whole front of the machine is digital. Instead of seeing through the machine, it's just pictures on the machine. It's just dropped.
Absolutely.
I don't even know how that thing works, but so I don't know, like, so I see the machines evolving. And then outside of that, I see some stuff that they're doing with. I don't know if you heard of micro markets. I see those coming out.
Yeah.
There.
I'm not sure how that. I mean, they're playing out well. People have a lot of them, but I feel like that's going to change with technology as well. Like an Amazon Go is a micro market in a sense. So
Right, right. What's the name has one too? I can't think of the name of it, but it's another place that has something like it operates the same as a micro market. But yeah, I mean, I see that, and that's all technology based too. So I mean, I see that technology playing a more of a role. Even with somebody else I was speaking to, a company I was speaking to, they had some type of technology they had for machines where it tracked like foot traffic and the type of person that was using the machine, like so it's
I was just looking at this too. It's ridiculous. It's a company called KAIROS. I don't know if you looked into them, but it can recognize you, how old you are, um, crazy stuff that's happening. But continue.
right. No, that's exactly it. I don't know. I don't think that's not the one that I'm talking about. I don't think.
There's a bunch, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's software companies out there coming up with this stuff, like so it's going to change. It's going to change the vending game. And that people they might take that information and turn it into some type of they sell it to some type of marketing people or whatever and try to sell more stuff on top or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I definitely
Yeah. It's always cool just to pick people's brain and see where they think an industry's going. You're never going to be exactly right, but
right. But I will say this though, like I know one person said, this is like one of those troll people where it's always trolls and stuff. I don't even pay any attention. But it was he said, oh, it's a failing business and it's going not going to be there. I would say, man, I don't care which movie I watch. I now look for them. Like in movies, I watch a real old movie and I swear I see a vending machine in every movie that I didn't watch. That's mostly out there. I would say the business has been around for a long time. Like so, when as time goes on, the machines kind of just evolve with the time. Like so, I don't see them going anywhere, but I just see them evolving to where they're maybe less bulky, and it's more technology based. like the phones and all that type of stuff is going.
Yeah. Which makes sense. And going back on that earlier point, I think it's very interesting. I'm sure you've thought of this now that you've seen this AI stuff where it can recognize foot traffic and stuff. Cool stuff. But the average vending machine that me and you have out really is dumb if you think about it. It is not equipped with anything that these new technology forward machines are equipped with, which makes it so interesting for me to think, and obviously you see it as well, as you know, they could be replaced quickly. I mean, it's not gonna it's a 10 to 20 year thing. The whole adoption life cycle of it obviously has to take place, but it's very interesting to realize the machines we have are dumb. They don't communicate with the internet beyond our NIAX or our USA technology processor or whatever processor you have.
Right,
It's very interesting
right.
to look into that stuff because the
It's
processor,
crazy.
man.
I had
Go
I
ahead.
had a family member saying, because when I was trying to come up with different ideas, for vending and whatever, my family member was saying, okay, well, why don't you do this that interacts with the machine? I'm like, most of that stuff is done through the actual, like, the processing company with the card readers or whatever, with the cashless readers. So it's not the actual machine; it's just that actual piece that's on there. That's like I had some like my first time even noticing, like a change with the machine for me. Anyway, when I started putting the card readers on there, I wanted to go fill up a soda machine that I had, and it was like in it's more so like an upscale like office building, and the guy like swiped his watch in front of it, in front of the machine. Then he chose like two sodas, and they came out. I'm like, yo, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, that's decent. Like, it's crazy. Like, but they add
Yeah.
more technology, but it's not actually connected to the machine. It's kind of connected to that processor. But with the newer machines, it's actually connected to the machine.
Exactly, but that I think is the craziest thing. Maybe you have some technology forward machines. Most of our machines on that MDB protocol is what they call it. MDB is actually very outdated. It's been around for, I think it's like 20, 30 years maybe. I could be a little wrong, but it's been around a really long time. And it's so sad because a NIAX reader, if you have your change, which I mean, a big thing kind of is your change can run out sometimes. If you
Mhm.
have your change run out, that notifies the machine to just shut itself. So then your NIAX reader automatically just fails to go back online. And you don't know that because your machine forces itself off.
Right.
It's everything plugged into that board on an old machine kind of is a slave to it. And it's the vice versa where you can't get things out. So I don't know if you've ever noticed that where I've had machines go down. I'm like, oh, why don't I know that this was a change reader? It won't tell you because there's no outer protocol. It's only into the machine, not out. It's kind of crazy to think about, but
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, I
so
definitely.
hopefully we get that technology, and it's cheap as well. I mean, they're kind of expensive. Like the crane machines, they're 8,000 new, so it's tough.
Yeah, newer machines are definitely expensive. I really only use refurbished machines. I have like some that I've used new ones from time to time, but most of the time I use the refurbished ones and just rock.
Yeah, I mean they get the job done, and you're saving a good buck.
But as time goes on, though, you will have to get with the times to stay ahead of that curve. So you know,
Yeah, and I'm sure they're gonna make it easy in a sense. Same with like if you want to upgrade an old machine to that MDB stuff, it's just a matter of upgrading the board to accept it. So I'm sure we'll be able to upgrade our boards to accept some future technology that may exist. But I mean, a long-winded answer to your question, but I think you're in the right direction of where the industry's probably going, and hopefully you have your exit plan in the next 10 years, and everything works out for you on that front as well.
yeah.
But we got a couple more questions. So, how powerful do you believe your mindset is on your success in business? I mean, it seems like it's a big deal, but how powerful do you think it is?
I think is the most important thing. I think without the right mindset, you're gonna fail. Like even for example, if you believe you're gonna fail, like are you going into it like thinking I'm gonna fail, then I think you're gonna fail. But if you go into it just knowing that you're gonna make it work, then you're gonna make it work. I think it really starts, in your mind and you kind of manifest the results. Like, 'cause if you
I
never
love it.
you never really give up on yourself, it's gonna happen. It's just about a matter of time.
Yeah, I love it. It's very true. The mind controls all. But what's one of the biggest struggles that you face as a business owner?
You said one of the biggest struggles. I
Yeah, one of the struggles.
also, I would say being organized. I have to be more organized. Although I feel like I am organized, but I have to be more organized. And paperwork. I hate paperwork. So
Yeah, don't we all?
I hate paperwork. And then the last thing I would say is working with employees. Like so, just learning how to manage the productivity of others. Like when I worked, I've been a supervisor, manager, that type of thing. But it was kind of like, all right, well, the system is already in place. Like when you, like I said before, like when you build your own system, is you kind of have to figure everything out and make it all make sense, and at the same time while you're trying to still actually take care of the business. So it's
Very true. Yeah, I cut you off a little bit there, but it's very true. It's kind of like it's tough when you're just just starting your business. You're a couple years in. You're relatively new, obviously, but building the systems and the organization, and even onboarding people to work with you, it does all become very hard to do.
yeah,
But it does get done. Obviously, as everything evolves, it has to get done. We have no choice but
right,
to scale and be better and do better. So
yeah. And I
very
would
true.
even say, to add to that, like even for me, like even with the online stuff, um, I kind of had to outsource some of the tasks because it just became a lot. Like so, and that was, so hiring people and trusting people with that is a lot. Like for my DMs, my direct messages, I had to bring in a virtual assistant to kind of help me out because it was like I was keeping up with it at first, and then it was like, man, like every time I look in there, it's like 99 plus, 99 plus, and every time I attack with, I spend the whole day. Like this is when I know I needed help. I spent the whole day answering those messages. By the end of that day, I still had over 100 messages in there. I was like, yo, I can't, because I ain't got that time to sit there and like, and people think I ignore them, but I really don't. It's just I really just don't. I guess I get a lot of questions, like so. You know,
Yeah,
it's hard to get
it's
through it.
tough. Yeah, managing your time, managing even
Right,
other people's time. They're both, challenging feats, but we'll get better. Again, it's the process. We have to learn, we have to fail, we have to readjust, reimprove and, fix it as we go. But
right.
um yeah, where's your end goal, your big dream? What's holding you back from accomplishing those goals right now? This goes on a quote from Elon Musk or Peter Thiel, but they said if you could accomplish your 10-year goal in 6 months, how would you do it? And it's just a critical thinking exercise. So I'm curious, what's your big dream, what's your end goal, but what's holding you back from it?
I would say my end goal is just being able to live life on my own terms, like without having to worry about um, anything really. And I would say the only thing is holding me back would just be I would say just getting everything in place. Like so, I
Sure.
feel like once I get everything in place in terms of systems, in terms of stuff I want to do and business wise, and I get all my systems in place, and I could kind of step out and remove myself, and and things would still run smoothly. Um, and then I'll be in a position where I could just focus on living life and enjoy
Yeah.
the fruits of my labor type of thing. So
Yeah. I like that. And it's true. I mean, no worry and financial freedom and not having to worry for that next paycheck. It's definitely a nice feeling for sure. But good to know. And I'm sure you're gonna get there, man. You're a hustler. You have it in you, and you have the motivation. You're doing good for people around you with the community, the Instagram, everything like that. I think you're helping people, so that's good karma to begin with. But moving along to our last question here, and basically, what do you believe is the most powerful quality of a successful entrepreneur?
I would say the most powerful quality is I would go back to mindset, and I will also add consistency. Like I've never seen
Hmm, yeah.
an inconsistent successful person. Like, and in anything.
That's true.
Like, everybody I know that's extremely successful is also very like consistent on whatever they're doing to make them successful. When I was in the sports world, it was, you know, it's the same way. People were always real consistent who are successful. They're always, in there working out some type of way, or eating a certain way or whatever to work towards that end goal. That really they consistently work on their end goal. And just having the right mindset. Like, so, when you fail, you don't really look at things as a failure. You could just look at it as a moment where you learn something. If you just look at things, you have a different perspective on the way you're looking at the stuff happening around you. Like, with the right mindset can get you to, can get you a long way.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's very true. I've never seen a consistent or an inconsistent successful person or yes, I heard what you said and I think that's a good point with the consistency is, if you're consistent with anything even if it's a small percentage each day like Toyota Kaizen theory, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. My business school knowledge, but Kaizen theory is 1% better every day. So, as long as you're improving something in your life, in your processes, your life will get better and things will get better and you will become successful at some point as long as you're improving.
All right.
So but thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate your time. I think it was an awesome conversation. I learned a lot. I'm sure the listeners are going to learn a lot. But shout yourself out, tell them where they could find you on social media for those still listening, and close us off.
All right. For the people who want to find me on social media, I am on Instagram at the underscore vending underscore biz. We're also on YouTube at the vending biz. And we're on Facebook at the same, the vending biz. And for the people who want to learn more about starting their own vending business, you can check out our ebook and our course and other things we have available on our website at thevendingbiz.com.
Awesome, man. Really do appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, hope you have a good night and see everyone later.
All right. Thank you.